Across thousands of acres of the Indian landscape, massive solar arrays are tracking the sun. India is adding renewable capacity at a record pace. This chart tracks India's emission intensity, carbon released per unit of economic growth. The line drops sharply. But looking at total emissions, the line moves in the opposite direction. There's a widening gap between grid efficiency and actual carbon entering the atmosphere. Building record-breaking renewable projects doesn't automatically mean a country's total carbon footprint will shrink. The reason is simple. India is urbanizing. Millions of people are moving into cities, entering a consumer class that requires constant, reliable power. This bar chart shows the scale of that shift. India's total electricity demand is expected to double in the near future. To keep the lights on for that many people, the grid must lean on traditional coal and gas plants, already standing and ready to run. This creates a lock-in risk. The infrastructure decisions made right now to satisfy immediate demand will dictate the country's emissions for the next 30 or 40 years. The core of the issue is that generation capacity is not the same thing as usability. Solar and wind power are intermittent. They generate electricity only when environmental conditions allow, which rarely aligns perfectly with when people actually use power. We can see this mismatch on a duck curve graph. The bell curve shows solar power peaking at midday, but the second line shows energy demand, which spikes in the evening after the sun has already gone down. Pushing massive, unpredictable spikes of renewable energy into a legacy grid causes severe stability challenges. Without a way to smooth out those spikes, the physical infrastructure of the grid can become overwhelmed. Installing the panels is the visible part of the transition, but the actual bottleneck is the physics of integrating that power into a rigid, aging system. For India, the focus has to shift from installation to integration. That starts with grid-scale storage. These battery arrays act as a buffer, soaking up excess solar power during the day and discharging it into the grid during those evening peaks. Then there are smart grids, using software to dynamically route power, automatically moving energy from high supply zones to areas facing blackouts. The final tool is demand response. It balances the network by incentivizing factories and large consumers to lower their usage during peak stress. While these systems are built out, traditional plants will need carbon capture and storage to neutralize the emissions from the baseload power that keeps the country running. Without storage, smart distribution, and demand response working together, much of that new renewable energy will simply go to waste. If we look at the global picture, India's rising energy demand isn't just a risk, it's a historical blank canvas. Developed nations are struggling to retrofit century-old, tangled power systems. But because so much of India's future infrastructure hasn't been built yet, they aren't trapped by the same legacy constraints. There is an opportunity here to build a clean, integrated system from the ground up, embedding storage and smart technology into the very architecture of the new grid. The real measure of success won't be how many gigawatts of solar India can install, but how effectively it can manage the power it already has. If India can master this integration, it will demonstrate that a nation can achieve rapid economic growth while keeping its total emissions in check.